even a complete newcomer to Hong Kong cinema, and wuxia films in particular, cannot deny the inherent artistic and aesthetic elements of this genre. Um, Now, the elements of film aesthetics include camera angles, lighting, color grading, and set design, among others, right? And it is film aesthetics that help to create the mood or tone that convey emotions and tell a story visually. Hairstyles, you might have noticed both men and women were having long hair, with some hairstyles also featuring buns. Now, this is because not cutting one's hair was considered filial piety in Confucian ideology. When we talk about the outfit, the Hanfu, which is a traditional Chinese garment. Now, in ancient China, Hanfu was not just clothing, but a reflection of one's social standing, which was reflected in every fold and color of the fabric. Here you can see it summarized in a very concise way. Now, King Hu was my very first touch point for wuxia films, and is still up to now my favorite director for this genre. His sumptuous nature shots that transported you into mystical environments were really second to none, I think. And if you think about frames of the landscapes, they were really perfectly arranged in visual harmony. I would say this tendency surely came from the fact that Hu was also an artist. He was very skilled in Chinese ink painting and calligraphy. In fact, the opening credits of wuxia classic Dragon Inn were painted by Hu himself. As opposed to King Hu, who shot his films mostly in real places around Taiwan, Chor Yuen's wuxia films were mostly shot inside the Shaw Brothers studios. Now, this was due to the fact that Hong Kong was becoming more and more congested during the 70s because of the expanding landscape of the city's urban and economic miracle. So finding credible outdoor locations, you can say with a great natural scenery, was surely much more difficult in Hong Kong. So the constructed sets were really, you can say, emblematic for the Shaw period themed films of the 70s in particular. Nonetheless, as we can see in films such as Heroes Shed No Tears or Heaven's Sword and Dragon Saber, these artificial sets did, however, have their own flair, and even though they were limited in terms of space, they did really stretch much into distance when you look at certain frames, as we can see here. And compared to King Hu's aesthetics, Chor Yuen himself said he never was looking for realism in his wuxia films. He simply wanted to convey his own vision of aesthetics. Now, his natural environments felt straight out of a sorcery or fantasy flick with its, fake mists, moonlight, and exaggerated colors. The latter really hinting at, you can say, the tone of the scene and the mood of the character, as we can see in here. Now, looking at both background scenery and clothing, I would say that the film Hero, directed by Zhang Yimou, brings these two aspects to a whole new level. And we could do a whole new episode only on that. Now, director Zhang Yimou focuses his whole narrative on 5 colors: black, white, red, green, and blue. 5 colors used in both scenery and clothing, and somehow symbolizing the mental states of the characters and their fate, as well as the fate of the empire. Now, the way a subject is framed and the camera angle play also a crucial role in conveying the intended message or emotion and perspective in a film. Now, here we see how director Patrick Tom Kaming exquisitely shot and framed his scenes. In this scene, he injects almost like a horror movie ambience with the assassin framed on the ceiling. And in this one, you have the villain highlighted in a dark red light, with the screen then transitioning into complete red. When we talk about camera angles and framing, it's also worthwhile mentioning how director Chor Yuen placed elements around the boundaries of the screen space, and also some overlapping elements that broke the frame into multiple frames, often obscuring the view of the actual sword fight that was happening. Now, this created the effect that the audience is almost like spying from a hidden location, which I found really intriguing when I saw his films for the first time. The obscuring of the action could also somehow be a metaphor for what martial arts is actually based on.
Martial art is based on deception, my friend.